chance to check for ourselves what this player is worth of.
Yeah, because I even didn't know how he looks like. And now we are seeing exactly the same line that Magnus played against Anish.
Against Anish, yeah. And I would say that so far we are seeing the improvement on Anish's play. I'm not sure though about capturing on c3 immediately. That looks like a little bit too naive.
I'm very happy that we have a chance of seeing Tsipidov in action, because he has been so impressive so far, and we just didn't even know how the guy looks like.
Yeah, right, but his results speak for themselves. It's like winning against Anand, winning against Mamedyarov. Okay, h6. So essentially we have some sort of Rasolima setup with colors reversed.
Yeah.
Which
have served Magnus very well with black, so let's see how he deals now, how he copes with white.
Okay, so what would be the typical move with white here?
Well, there are many plans.
Rook b1 is always useful.
Yeah, it's a nice prophylactics, because black basically has a counterplay based on a6 b5. And with rook b1 you keep an eye on this action.
And then knight e1 I wanted to suggest, because it's not only preparing f4, but sometimes you go knight c2, e3, d5.
Yeah.
Knight e7.
So we see typical maneuvers.
f4, straightforward. Takes, well, we take, I assume, with the bishop. Knight g6. Bishop has to go, I believe. Okay, e3, right? Bishop to e3, queen d2.
Or to g3, and then the knight goes to e3.
Ah, right, and then the knight. We want to put the knight on e3.
I'm loving this for white. I mean, this basically, if the knight gets to e3, it feels like strategically white is maybe winning.
Yeah, that's the feeling. Like black needs to do something right now, because in a couple of moves, white will get the knight on e3 and get all the control over the position, right?
Yeah. So black would actually need to move the knight from f6 maybe to
try
d7 to
try
c5.
To get f5, yeah?
Yeah, and play f5, but he doesn't seem to be in time. Knight d7, knight c2, knight c5, knight e3.
Rook e8, well, that's, I mean, it's not necessarily a terrible move, but you accept that you do not have the direct counterplay, right? So
yeah.
By playing rook f8 to e8, you accept, okay, I'll be in worse passive position. It's still possible to, I mean, it is kind of solid. It's not that white is winning immediately.
I thought that maybe some c6, d5 was a plan, but...
yeah, putting bishop on b7 doesn't really appeal to me, because it's not doing all that much here.
Yeah, he wants to break with d5.
c5 and knight f5, rook e6, but knight on f5 looks really threatening.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I just can't believe black surviving this, but I mean, c6, d5 is in a way kind of a must, because there is nothing else black can do.
Queen d2.
And what about d5 now?
Well, good or bad, feels like it has to be played.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was. E takes, c5, kind of a positional approach.
Yeah. And now we see the, I mean,
yeah,
the
rook b1 was very clever,
prophylactics,
yeah. All of a sudden, yeah, it all looked like, white pieces directed towards the king side, but now, after this c5, there is knight d6 possibility, there is knight d4 with c6 idea in the air. So it turns out that white controls over all the board. And in some lines, it can be a rook lift from b1 to b4, and then actually white does have some initiative on the king side. If one of the knights leaves from the king side, then, you know.
And also against some queen d7, there are ideas with knight d4 and connected with rook takes f6 idea. Once the rook leaves the 6 rank, then rook takes f6, g takes f6, and then the knight back to f5, queen takes a6 with checkmate.
Those positions are usually terribly dangerous. So all in all, it looks like a very, very dangerous position for black, if not already bad.
Yeah,
queen to c8.
c8 played.
Queen to c8, okay, at least tackling the c5 pawn, so white has to decide what to do. Taking on b6 doesn't really feel right.
Yeah, but let's just mention that knight d6 runs into queen takes c5 check, winning the game. I know you still have d4,
I have
but,
d4, yeah.
but I mean still, it's queen takes c5 check was really annoying.
Okay, so white takes on b6. Now a b6 at least kind of brings the rook from a8 to life, but black decided to take with the rook. So now knight h6 is a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, and he clearly blundered this one. Knight takes h6 and kind of looks no chance, right?
Yeah, this is
Takes,
hopeless.
rook takes, and you are not even getting the pawn back.
Black has to go d5, d4 now. Maybe it's the only way just to open up this bishop at least. And then if cd, bishop d5 and rook takes a2, some counterplay.
Oops.
d4 played.
He plays that.
Of course, c4 will be played probably. If not, some queen takes h6 wins by force, followed by rook takes g6.
Yeah, it could be that something like queen h6, bishop h5 wins. But on the other hand, do you really want to, to trust your calculation in such position?
Yeah, but
well,
he
Magnus
takes and
wants.
then rook takes g6. It's
Magnus
kind of
wants queen e8.
Ah, wow, this is a
Not
good...
yet. I mean,
Yeah, this is a good
that's,
defensive resource.
That's what I meant. Possibly it was more practical, not to go for this. Because now dc3, I mean, the bishop is... bishop isn't really hanging. Well, knight, nice move. Bravo, Magnus.
Wow, yeah.
That's a nice move, because dc3 is met with rook g6 and check from b3.
And checkmate.
And it wasn't obvious, because I thought bishop g4 was the same idea, but then it doesn't work. Yeah, but this way it's absolutely winning. Bishop to c6.
Yeah, now white has secured the position and he's just
And
completely winning.
yeah, I mean, you can play bishop b3, where
you-
black most likely will have to answer with bishop a4, and then you're absolutely safe. And I mean, in such positions, I mean, one wants to play a move like h2, h3.
Exactly.
Just not to worry about his king till
And
the
then king
till the end of the
h2
yeah
and-
h3, king h2. I
and
mean,
the
you no
designs.
longer need any extra material. I mean, you're already 2 pawns up, and then the king is quite weak.
You can even do h4 if you
Okay,
want to.
Magnus takes. That's interesting. Rook takes b6. He says, I want more material. Because rook b8 was a threat,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a move with a tempo. h4.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
time to design. I
No,
mean,
but this
3
is-
pawns up
This
And-
is completely winning, of course.
and total domination.
So unless some magic happens, there can't be any magic, right?
Yeah,
Knight
not in this
f8.
position.
Rook b5, heading to g5, and also bishop e6 is a possibility. Sorry, bishop e5, of course.
And
Mate,
checkmate.
checkmate on the board. Magnus wins another game. We immediately